might not be your style of music, but as the White House right now is streaming this live, I think right now there's something like 30,000 people are watching. They'll probably stream this. When they do this lo-fi beats thing, they stream it all night long. Just let it run. You know, some people just put it in the background or doing some work. And at the same time, the text is scrolling. And the text is scrolling with all of the information wrapped around a big, beautiful bill and what's happening with refunds right now. It's simply amazing. Some of it's bullet points, some of it's just paragraph oriented, but it's telling the story of what happened today and how it benefited tens of millions of people. I'm going to show you more about that in a second. I didn't even know they were doing this tonight. SB sent it to me. So let's continue with this stuff. A couple more, because look at the bullet points. So if you want to see all of that, well, it's a whole lot of it before it replays, you can go to the White House stream. Maybe I need to just stream that and just call it a day because there is so much information. But let me just move on with the show, or part of the show here, because today's a very good day for a huge swath of people in the country. A bunch of other people are just being naysayers, and it doesn't really matter. They hate everything. But I think today drew a huge contrast. I love saying the word contrast because it shows you the difference between Democrats and Republicans. All day today, the Democrats were complaining that so-and-so didn't pay enough taxes, and we got to tax the rich, and we got to take more of your money away from you. That was their theme today. Your fair share isn't being paid. Instead of saying, look at what's happening with all these people. Oh, it's their money anyway. They took too much last year. They're complaining about everything. And really, like, it's depressing. I find, and then I realize as she talks, she goes, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make you feel depressed. They're trying to make people in your audience feel depressed, that life sucks under Trump. And if you let that sink in, if you let that happen, then they're winning. I'm like, yeah, you're right. She goes, did life suck for you? No, not at all. Life suck for Ashley? Nope, not at all. Are you helping members of your family? All the time. Are you praying? Yes. Life's good. Every day above the dirt should be a good day for people. And I love that President Trump is talking about it right here. Over 53 million filers claimed at least one of President Trump's signature new tax cuts. Amazing. Amazing. And the media won't talk about this. You're going to have to find out on your own. For instance, let's go to cut one here. By the way, tonight's going to be a different kind of show. I decided I don't want to go into long, extended segments. I'm going to hit some segments and hit them consequentially and just keep moving with the news roundups. Let's hit this.
New provisions to taxes this year coming from the One Big Beautiful Bill Act signed by President Trump in July. And now these will bring many changes this year as you are doing your taxes last minute today. Now the new tax provisions include no tax on tips up to $25,000 for those filing jointly, no tax on overtime on pay that exceeds the regular rate of pay, such as the half portion of time and a half compensation, no tax on car loan interest, and tax brackets will lower by 1% to 4%, cutting taxes on working families making less than $50,000. Now, here and
you know what I've been finding lately? I am finding better news on local stations. I'm starting to applaud local stations for what they're doing, because even though their parent may suck, this is I don't know what affiliate this is, but they're talking about the people in their communities, instead of people in Washington trying to tell you how you should feel wherever you live. These people here, this news station here, is a local newscast.
Alabama, the average salary is $49,300, according to ZipRecruiter. But here in Dothan, the average salary is $45,150. So families in Dothan can expect a refund if they make lower than $50,000 due to the new tax brackets. And now families who make less than $150,000 qualify for no tax on tips and overtime, and families who make less than $100,000 qualify for no tax on car loan interest.
Now, here you are listening to a television station in Dothan, Alabama, and they're telling you people here don't make a whole lot of money. The average salary, $45,000, $47,000 a year, but they're saying now these people are going to get a lot more benefit out of the money they earned, their own money, without the government dipping into it. I saw Elizabeth Warren, I saw AOC, I saw Hakeem Jeffries, I saw, Chuck Schumer, everybody complaining that not everybody got the same. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people who didn't get off their butts and start working for the same amount of money those people in Dothan, Alabama worked for. It's sickening that you keep comparing the takers and making them seem more important than the makers. I applaud every person out there who's making a living, making money for their family. Whereas on the other side, they just want to take. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to show you something in a second. The taking is causing much of the high pricing. I learned it myself Friday. I'm going to tell you about it in a second. But listen to the head of the IRS talk about what's going on.
Since becoming the IRS CEO in October of last year, we have transformed the taxpayer experience. This year, Tax Day holds a special importance because working families across our nation are benefiting from pro-growth tax policies like never before. Let me be crystal clear. This is the most successful filing season in IRS history.
He said history. Ever. This is a momentous day that President Trump is celebrating by doing a lo-fi beat stream just so people can see all of the things that are happening. And this guy just came out, the new director or head of the IRS, and is telling you it's the most successful IRS year in history. But the interesting part is, why is it successful? Because from their perspective, they need to be collecting more. So it's a huge failure that so much money is going out the door. Oh my gosh, he's calling this successful? What are we going to do? The shrimp can't get on a treadmill. We can't afford to put goats and see if they can do laundry and other things. And this guy's calling it successful?
This is thanks to President Trump, Secretary Bessent, and congressional Republicans in securing passage of the working families tax cuts. This landmark legislation forms the cornerstone of the administration's growth agenda. The latest numbers tell the story. The IRS has received more than 134 million individual income tax returns, with more than 98% of them filed electronically.
Okay, hold on a second. 134 million individual tax returns. 134 million. At last check, there was like 320 million people in the country, including kids. So that's a whole lot of tax returns from adults. And they can't all be Republicans. I'm pretty sure there's a good amount of Democrats who filed these returns and they're getting their money.
We've issued more than 80 million refunds, with 98% of those refunds sent electronically via direct deposit. More than 90% of taxpayers who filed electronically received their refund in less than 21 days. The average refund amount is over $3,400, up by 11%. The total amount of refunds we have issued now stands at over $280 billion, 16% higher than last year.
All right. 200 and understand how this is going to trickle down, as they say. $280 billion has gone out in the last couple weeks. 280 billion. Ooh, look at all this money. 8,000, 10,000, 12,000 we've heard from these people. Look at all this money we didn't have a couple weeks ago. Now, what do you think is going to happen post acceptance and deposits of returns? What do you think is going to happen next? Well, next is the spending spree. Next is when people go out and buy a car or go on vacation or go out to restaurants or have a fantastic Mother's Day or save for a trip for this summer or put the kids in a different school. Whatever it's going to be a lot of this going out. Yes, some people will save, but most people, it's been proven, most people are going to put that money back into the economy. Which then means what? Which means businesses make money, might have to hire more people. You see how it's going to work? President Trump, Scott Bessent, they said it from day one. Just wait, you'll see. So in essence, they just injected $280 billion into the economy.
This is real relief going out to working Americans and their families. Thanks to the new landmark policies, more than 53 million Americans have already experienced new financial benefits. These provisions include no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on car loan interest, and a special deduction for seniors, which has already been claimed more than 30 million times.
All right, so I know there's a lot of seniors up in here. I know there's a lot of seniors in our community. Y'all need to start telling me in the chat how you guys have done with whatever you've collected or deducted. I'd love to know how you're going to embrace the new Trump tax tips, tax return stuff. I'd love to know what you're going to be doing. And I see some people talking about the sound and buffering. I'm 5x5. Hey, SB, everything sound okay to you?
Absolutely. 5x5.
All right, we're good. So you might want to refresh or whatever you need to do because we're going to keep rolling.
In addition, provision from President Trump's 2017 tax bill, such as the increased standard deduction, increased child tax credit, and full expensing for capital investments were made permanent.
All right, I've talked to you before about capital expenditures, capital investment. You own a business, you got a pizza parlor, you want to put in a new oven. You own that same pizza parlor, you want to get new tables and chairs. You're a streamer, you decide that you want to get more cameras, more lights, and possibly a video screen behind you. You get to deduct all that stuff and put it back into your business. You get to get some toys. Maybe you want to lease a car. Democrats don't want you feeling this kind of luxury, as they would call it. They don't want you feeling this kind of prosperity. Even if it's your own money, they have a problem with you holding on to more of your money. Show me a Democrat anywhere today who is celebrating this, even amongst their own constituents. Hey, Fred, how you doing today? Oh, it's fantastic. I got a huge refund. Nope. Complete sourpusses and everything they can do to just talk it down. Meanwhile, Americans, including Democrats, that's a big part of it, including Democrats, are seeing this money hit their accounts. You got to wonder what they're feeling like right now. Because he just said there was 140 million people filed, and these people getting their returns and getting this money. How you feeling? How are you feeling, Mr. and Mrs. Troll? You come in here and cause all problems? What are you doing with the extra money that Trump is getting you? No, you won't say anything about that. You'll spend it. You'll definitely spend it. You might get a new phone so you can troll faster, but you won't admit it because admitting it means we're winning.
All of this prevented a tax increase of over $5 trillion on American families and small businesses. Many of these provisions have bipartisan support, and each of your constituents will see the benefits. Another hallmark of the bill is the Trump accounts, which will provide families a financial head start for their children.
But what about the black babies? What about the babies from Somalia? You know, the funniest thing about them complaining about this is they're not complaining to the right people. You see, if the black baby that you're worried about, or even the Hispanic baby, or whoever, whatever baby, it's not fair. Don't talk to Trump. Don't talk to me. Talk to their parents. Talk to their grandparents. Find out, what are you doing for little Shaniqua? Oh, no, man. I got to go get me some new Nikes. It's your fault. You're going to have to, as a Democrat, or if you have family members, which I do, you're going to have to say to them, you're the one in the position of accountability. If little Shaniqua can't get her trust fund put together because you can't fund it, it's on you, not on me, not on Trump, not on anybody in MAGA about it not being fair. The only thing that's not fair is that obviously you gave birth to this kid and you were like this the entire time. And now the rest of us can say, I'm going to do this for my grandkid, my grandson, my granddaughter. We're going to set them up so by the time they're 18 or 21, they got bank. What do you mean it's not fair? No, it's fair because everybody can do it. See, not fair would mean you were precluded from doing it. There is no preclusion. If you have a child and if you have a grandchild, you can put money in their account. You can, not government. Government ain't sticking no cheese, ain't making no deposit with cheese. It's on you, Dad, Mom, Grandmom, Granddad. It's completely fair. Everybody can do it. So if everybody has access to it, then it's completely equitable. It's you who don't want to put the money in Jeremiah's account. It's you who don't want to work hard enough to just keep adding more money into your child's account. Don't tell me it's not fair. It's not fair that you're the dad or you're the mom. Well, see, they don't want to tell you that because that's some serious mirror-looking accountability in these families where they can't blame anybody else. Oh, I got to look at this person? Yeah. Wow. My fault? Yeah, your fault. Because then the answer is very simple. What are you going to do about it? You're going to sit there and wallow and lament, or you're going to do something about it?
Families have signed up more than 5 million children for the accounts, of which more than 1 million children are covered by elections for the $1,000 Trump accounts pilot program contribution.
I don't even know what to say. So before I go to a commercial, I got to play something, a 3-minute video, which might end up turning into another 15 minutes. But nonetheless, we're amongst friends. We can talk. So here today was how the Democrats responded to all the prosperity that's happening in typical Democrat way. It's absolutely disgusting. But this is what they are.
There are new requirements for SNAP eligibility starting May 1st that could impact nearly 250,000 Chicago residents if they are unable to meet the new requirements. To meet the new requirements, some residents will need to complete 80 hours per month through employment, job training, education, or approved volunteer activities.
Oh, no. I'm going to have to work 80 hours a month? Are you serious? That's got these people afraid? You might have to put in as many hours in a month that Barry puts in with a week. 80 hours a month, and they're having to warn people like, oh, you're not going to believe this. You're not going to believe this. You're not going to get your bonbons and your little Debbies because they're going to want you to do something for 80 hours a month. We are in such a bad place. We are in such a bad place. People are sitting back right now getting tax refunds for work that they did, and you got the city of Chicago going, warning, warning. You might have to get off the couch and actually do something for the free food that the people working are giving you. You know what's not fair? Let me tell you what's not fair and not equitable. Me working 60, 70, 80 hours in a week. You working 40, 50, 60 hours in a week. Going to the store and seeing these people get in line, and you know they don't have a dime to pay for it, but they got the Uncle Sam debit card, and they got a whole shopping cart full of crap that you're like, damn, free, huh? That's what's free. Don't you often just want to go tap these people on the shoulder? Excuse me. You're welcome. Huh? You're welcome. You see, everybody else here in line is paying for this shit. Excuse me. People told me stop swearing. Everybody else in line is paying for this stuff. You're walking in with a basket full or 3 baskets full because you got the direct deposit and now you're worried about you can't do it because you might have to work or volunteer 80 hours a month.
While the federal government steps away from its responsibility to invest.
What? The federal government is stepping away from its responsibility to make sure that Shaniqua can go get some free food. His words, not mine.
People, Chicago is stepping up to lead. My office is providing resources so that you and your neighbors do not lose food access. Please visit Chicago.
I can guarantee you how you won't lose food access. Very simple. I think everybody in the chat could have an idea. Do you have an idea how they could make sure that these people don't lose whatever this is called, food access? Food access. Ain't nobody losing food access. There's not a single person in America who's losing food access. You can go to any grocery store during normal hours and you got access to food. Nobody is telling you you're losing food access. However, you're going to lose the ability to get it for free. But you're not losing access. Man, they twist all these words to make it sound like it's food access. I've had food access for 65 years. Either it came out of booby or I was sopping it up somehow. I always had access. As you get older, you still have the access, you just got to pay for it. Mom, how do I get more of this stuff? Oh, you go to the store and buy it. Oh, I thought I just had access. I thought if I just showed up, they'd give it to me. They are keeping these people perpetually enabled. No wonder they can't get off the nipple. They can't. When you're so enabled where you're going to lose food access, and oh my gosh, they might make you work 80 hours a month to feed the 19 kids you have by 12 different baby daddies. But we're told we're not being correct. We don't understand diversity, equity, and inclusion. No, because I do not want to be included in your diversity. I'm sorry. I have access to food. I've always had access to food. I just need to understand what I need to do to pay for it if I want to leave the store with it. These people are scumbags.
Chicago.gov/SNAP to access our SNAP toolkit. See how you can receive support and learn more about our citywide hiring fair on April 22nd, which will connect you with employers and opportunities to meet the new SNAP requirements. To all our community partners, I hope you will help to spread the word, share our SNAP toolkit, and connect your neighbors to both job opportunities and food resources. And to everyone watching, please show up for our neighbors in this critical moment by calling your representatives at the state and federal level to demand a change to the new requirements.
Wait a second. You want me to get on the phone and call my representatives here in Florida? Excuse me. You seriously aren't making it hard for people to get food, are you? I mean, come on, man. They're losing their food access. Food access. Food AXCSSE. Food access. What are these people doing? And then what happens? You go to the job fair. What happens? You go to the job fair and they're like, wow, you're 6 feet, about 200 pounds. You look like a nice big old strapping buck here. Okay. I got some warehouse work for you. What are the hours? 9 to 5. How many days a week? 5. Oh, no. I just need enough for my food access. Oh, so you only want to work a couple hours a week. Yeah. What are you doing the rest of the week? I'm going home. I'm going to be hanging out in the hood. Because if you get the job, then all of a sudden the benefits go away. See how it works there? You don't need it anymore. It's a trick. It's a grand trap. You're going to walk into it. Hey, I got a job. Great. Now you don't need the damn SNAP access. And then they'll quit. Because getting the SNAP benefits and filling up those carts for free is better than going to work 80 hours a month. This is what the Democrats want. They have understood at this point that every single one of these losers gets a vote. Doesn't matter. As long as we can keep them fed and in line with food access, they're going to keep voting for us. And so we've got an entire legion of people who just want to leech, who've learned to leech. And if they're not leeching, then they're stealing, like the Somalis. It's just a big revolving circle. Now, what I want you to hear, and I learned this firsthand myself this week. I was amazed. I didn't know this. But I don't often put stuff that Peter Schiff puts out there because he and I don't. I've had him on my radio show a long time ago. We kind of butt heads with some financial stuff, but damn if he wasn't straight on with this.
Nobody should go hungry. And together, we will show up for one another as a city. Again, that's chicago.gov/SNAP. Thank you.
So now people who get these SNAP benefits can't use that money to buy chips. It means demand goes down for those foods because the government was subsidizing consumers to buy junk food. The government was subsidizing that, taxpayers, with the SNAP benefits.
All right, so I want you to understand what he's saying here. The government is giving out SNAP benefits, or was giving out SNAP benefits like it was, confetti at a party. Everybody gets some. And so the companies, the big companies like, what is it, Post or whatever, whoever makes these different things, Kellogg's, Keebler, Cheetos, Frito-Lays, and they're saying, wait a second here. These people ain't paying for this stuff, right? No, they get it for free. They don't got to pay anything. They just come out with their EBT card. Depending how many kids they got running around, they get even more money. Yeah. So if this bag of Cheetos here only costs us 12 cents, before SNAP, we could only charge $1. Yeah. Well, what if it was financially agnostic? That our customers who eat this crap weren't paying for it, and we could decide to charge $2. And they tried it. And the people with food stamps kept buying Little Debbie's and Cheetos and everything. They didn't care how much it cost. It was free for them. Then when you try to go buy the Cheetos, I'm like, $2 for a bag of Cheetos? What in the heck is this? I remember when it used to be like $1 or 50 cents. Times have changed. Things are more expensive. Well, that's because the demand has gone up because I know if I'm the company, I'm charging higher because there's people over here who are getting it for free. And they're going to keep buying every single 2 weeks. I don't need to worry about you guys. If you want it, you're going to have to pay $2. But now we're making it out big time because we are getting rich off the government subsidizing the people who are buying the food. You see how it works?
And so what happens is all of a sudden, people who were able to spend government money on junk food, now they can't spend the money on junk food. So demand goes down. And so what does Pepsi do in response to a decline in demand for its products? It lowers prices.
All right. See, that's simple supply and demand. If they can't buy it with the EBT, if RFK Jr. comes in and goes, nope, you can't buy Little Debbie, you can't buy soda, you can't do any of this stuff with your EBT card now. Now Pepsi and Frito-Lay are like, wait a second. We don't get this home run bonanza anymore? Nope. Now we got to compete. Yep. Now we got to lower our prices. See, the Democrats don't talk about that. Now it's cheaper for everybody because they're not getting all the free stuff. And like I said, I found out this myself this past weekend. Actually, it was Friday. I have a MRI scheduled on my knee. My knee's been acting up. I don't know if I messed it up at the gym or whatever, but I got to go in and get an MRI. Of course, what's the first thing they do? Hey, let's go ahead and let's check your insurance. Okay. Well, we're going to need an authorization for this. Okay, a week later. All right, so we still haven't heard from the authorization. And I'm like, and I just had what if I just pay cash for it? Huh? You want to pay cash, Mr. Cunningham? Yeah, I'll just come in and pay for it. I don't want to wait. If there's something wrong with my knee, I want to get it fixed. And I don't care. So I looked it up, and they were going to charge, just for a knee shot, $2,500 for the insured MRI. Like, wow. And Robin's like, MRIs are expensive. Yeah. So I said, let me just call. Hey, listen, yeah, if I get this done like Tuesday or Wednesday and I just come in and pay cash, how much is it? It'd be about $350 or $400. Huh? You're telling me I can just walk in, drop down $350, and you're going to do the MRI on my knee? Yeah, because you're not using your insurance. I was like, this can't be real. This can't be real. I came home around. I'm like, from now on, you need something done. Forget this prior authorization crap. Just go in and pay cash. And so she called somebody for something she had to do, and the guy's like $150. What? So if you don't use insurance, it's really affordable. And then if you just keep your insurance for your major medical, your hospital stay, you go to doctors and get what you want anytime you want, and it's really inexpensive. It's the exact same thing.
That's how the free market works. The government subsidized consumers to buy junk food by giving them money to pay for it. And so that allowed the companies that sell that type of food to charge higher prices. When the government reduces the subsidy that it provides, now the companies have to cut their prices. Well, if it works with junk food, it works the same way with everything.
Everything. If it works that way with MRIs, if it works that way with Section 8 and rental properties, and I know that for a fact, full disclosure, full admission, full mea culpa, when I was buying properties in the hood, and people are like, what are you doing? I'm like, the government's going to pay me $3,000 a month to let these people move in here. What? $3,000 a month. But what happens if you don't get a government person in here? Well, the best I could probably get is $1,800. So the government's going to put somebody in the house. Yeah. They're going to pay you $3,000 a month. It's just going to drop into your account once a month. Whereas if you did it yourself and actually put a paying customer in, the best the market rate would be about $1,800. Yeah. Like, this is a racket. And I did it for a long time. A long, long time, until like one day I just went, this can't be right. We're paying for this Section 8 stuff, and this woman's got 16 people living in this house, and I'm just supposed to look the other way while the guy's standing outside clocking and doing all kinds of stuff because the government's over here saying, here's your money. Here's $3,000. You got any more houses? Well, I got 2 more around the corner. Here's 25 for that one, and we'll give you 2 for this one. I'm thinking to myself, wait, so you're paying me like 10 grand a month for these houses and all I got to do is make sure the lawn's mowed and anything? You're just going to pay me every month? You're going to guarantee it? Not just guarantee it, we're going to pay it. So much of what the Democrats are pushing and what they're trying to do that people think is, quote, like Mandami, free. Somebody else, as you know, is paying for it, and somebody else is profiting off of it, whether it be a pharmacy, whether it be a grocery store, whether it be an MRI. When somebody else is paying, the people who are providing the goods, service, or product are jacking that price up because they know the government has got big bucks. And so as soon as you started providing these opportunities for these people to work, instead of getting, SNAP benefits for free, the prices will come down. It's across the board that way. Once you stop the subsidy, then the companies all have to, and the landlords and everybody else go, all right, we're back to reality. What's going on here? All right, so I'm going to have to just put this on the open market and see what rent I could get. It's still going on, by the way. Even with Trump, Section 8 is still going on. Poor Scott Turner hasn't got to that yet. They're trying to make sure that they can verify everybody in it, but they haven't begun reducing the amount of money that they're providing. And so if you want to be a hood-based investor, there's a tremendous opportunity, and it's so easy. Buy the house, put some paint on it, make sure the windows work, cash the checks. It's just that simple.
Everything the government subsidizes costs more as a direct result of the subsidy. Why is education so expensive, particularly colleges? Because the government subsidizes students to go to college.
If they weren't getting all these big loans, think about it. Some of these colleges have endowments of 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 billion dollars, but yet they still get government money because the biggest scam in education, the biggest one, is that you get to go get a student loan for a degree that doesn't mean anything and is horrible. We should start tying student loans to productivity. Then you wouldn't have basket weaving classes and all this other stuff because they don't care. They're getting paid. They're basically Section 8 for students.
The government arranges for guaranteed loans or directly finances low interest rate loans to make it easy for people to borrow money to pay for college. That means that colleges can charge more because their customers are getting money from the government to buy their product.
Wait, as you're hearing him and light bulbs are going off in your head and you realize the scam is so big that it's bigger than Nick Shirley, it's bigger than people going out there, it's bigger than it's so big. The Democrats and Republicans built this scam to a massive, massive, massive proportion. It's unbelievable. I don't know how we can turn it all back. The only way I could ever see us turning it all back is, like we've talked about before, there being no income tax, which is going to be impossible for them to, at this point, do away with. And it's the day these people would ever take power again, everything he's done is gone. Gone.
What would happen if the government stopped doing that? The government stopped giving out grants and loans. Well, just what Pepsi did. They'd have to cut their prices because demand would go down.
But see, that's the pipe dream. Government is going to do its best to continue to pay the least of people. People that who have given up on life. And I'm never, ever, ever talking. I just want you to know, I want to put a big asterisk. I am never talking about people who need a bridge. There are a lot of people in our community. I've been there. Robin's been there. You've probably been there where you've needed a bridge, where you needed to get from point A to point B, and you really didn't know how you were going to go from point A to point B. And you said, if I just get to point B, I'll be okay. I gotta find some way to get over this valley. I don't have the time or wherewithal to go into the valley and drudge around and climb back up. Is there any way I can get a bridge? Every single person like that who just wants to get to the other side should be given that bridge. Because that person who needs the bridge is somebody just like, just if I can just get there, I'll be okay. I will be okay. I know what to do once I get to the other side of this bridge. And that's what President Trump is trying to do, is just clear the water per se, not making any Jesus references. But if he can clear the water so that people can get to the other side while everything's raging around them, while they're being chased by bill collectors and stuff, if they can just get to the other side, they're going to be okay. Because the opportunity is there for those who want to take it. And we're seeing it today. I was seeing people talk about huge refunds, and I was engaging with some people online, and a couple of people I just asked, what are you going to do with it? You may know some friends. Maybe you're thinking about yourself. Maybe you got children. What are you going to do with it? You didn't have it yesterday. You didn't have it last week. What are you going to do with it? And see, that mindset right there, when you ask that question, what's your plan? What are you going to do with it? And you lean in. And at first they might, well, I'm going to go do this. And they still see you, really? And then hopefully someone will pause and go, oh, what do you think? Well, you didn't have it last week. You have it now. So obviously you were living without it. Why don't you invest it? Why don't you do something with it? And then at that point, they can make some money on the money. The ones who aren't are the ones who are going to go blow it. Oh, I can't wait to get the new Nikes. I can't wait to run down a Lululemon. Why don't you try this? Because that's where I think a lot of people in society are losing, because that treadmill that they get on of always having to, and they look forward to April. Man, I can't wait to get my tax refund. You're going to do what? What are you going to do with it? And that's where I think the conversation needs to shift for a lot of people, because President Trump is providing people with the opportunity, but he can't make you take it. That's on us. That's all on us. SV, what you got? Anything over there?
Oh, always stories happening. This is a story that kind of missed the national media today. You might know about it. Every single Democrat in the Minnesota House Rules Committee votes to block investigations into fraud under Tim Walz. With a straight face, Democrats endorsed $9 billion plus in stolen tax dollars. That's incredible.
They have to.
What?
They have to keep it going, because I think it touches so many people. And once somebody gets in there like J.D. Vance and, Doge, and they start looking at this stuff, it's going to touch a lot of people. It's not one person.
I mean, there's whistleblowers coming out. I posted something earlier today, 7 minutes of a lady who was a whistleblower. I mean, she's coming with receipts. How could they deny facts? I mean, somehow eventually he's going to, he's going to get pulled out. Yeah, right. I get that. Right. But at some point, reality has to set in, and he's going to have to be pulled, and then, whatever, he's going to be impeached probably. But
Yeah, but by then,
check
who,
it.
who knows where the money has gone? You don't know. It's
Yeah.
it's
Suitcases.
yeah. Oh, is it back to Somalia? I mean, I heard that one guy in Minnesota got arrested. He had stolen like $11 million. He got arrested. He got
Damn.
given like a free bail type thing, a signature bail, and now they can't find him. He's gone. Of course he's gone. he's living somewhere in Somalia. He's a warlord now with a castle.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
He's a lot richer. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, good.
It's crazy. I mean, then this story I just saw, it's going to actually make you a lot richer. How's that? Well, Madami dropped a massive ad encouraging people to move all their stuff. Oh, you want me to hold that? Okay. We'll save that one. Okay.
Yeah, wait, where is that one?
Ahead.
I think I have it. Wait a minute, where is it?
You got it queued?
Yeah, I got something we could talk about in a little bit. So I'll come back to that one.
All right, well, hold on that one. But that's crazy. I mean, he's just driving all the people down to Florida and other great red states. I mean, communism, socialism has never worked. It's never going to work. And eventually some of these people who voted for him, like the people in New York City, they're going to start having like voters remorse going, this isn't making any sense, right? Hopefully somebody's going to smack him in the head.
Yeah, and, I mean, after the earlier show, I told you I had to go look at a property, and it was so funny. I looked at it, and there's a bad situation, a divorce and everything else. And directly across the street is another house that recently got sold. And out there, man, there's guys swinging hammers and doing all kinds of things. And I look over and I went up and looked at the numbers online and what they paid for it versus what this guy's offering. And I'm like, there's gold here. And he doesn't even have a for sale sign because he said it's already sold. And I'm like, wow. Can't wait for that.
Well, there's going to be a lot more opportunities, I'm sure, for you in the upcoming months and years. I'm sure it's going to get a lot better. So
jump on it now.
All right.
Talk to you in a second, in about 90 seconds. All right. So I want to let you guys know there are stories on social media that are drawing attention to the rise of colorectal cancer. Among young adults since 2005, colorectal cancer deaths have increased in people under 50. And just for the record, ChatGPT confirms 70% of private oncologists' revenue comes from prescribing chemotherapy. Could recent turbo cancer in the young just be a coincidence? The good news is plenty of studies now show that traditional treatments are no longer the only choice. For example, Anthony Lataille, director of the National Cancer Institute, recently acknowledged sufficient scientific interest to warrant more rigorous preclinical studies of ivermectin's effects on cancer cells. The wellness company is a pioneer of medical freedom. Their medical board has stayed on the pulse of off-label cancer solution success stories and studies, removing red tape for you to easily access alternative medicines. Introducing American-made ivermectin, safe, trusted, and produced locally right here in Florida. Ivermectin has been prescribed globally for more than 30 years and even earned the Nobel Prize in Medicine for its proven ability to eliminate parasites. The wellness company is offering an 18 milligram dose for just $3.50 per tablet. You get a 6-month supply of 84 tablets, all at an unbeatable price. Get your U.S.-made ivermectin and own your own health. TWC.health/Barry and use code Barry to save $30 off. Plus, you get free shipping. That's TWC.health/Barry, and you get some Florida-made ivermectin. And I'm going to leave it at that because YouTube doesn't like us talking about the good stuff like this. You need to check it out, do some research, find out more about the wellness company, but it might be worth your benefit. I know I'm really into the show, so I'm not going to run the intro. I'll take a break by listening to more of the lo-fi beats if they're playing. Here we go. So I want to show you some desperation, some additional desperation by the Democrats. They want to get rid of Trump, and now they've turned their sights on somebody else.
Also, some breaking news: articles of impeachment introduced in Congress against none other than Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. The allegations: abuse of power, politicization of the armed forces, and obstruction of congressional oversight. So let's talk about it. CBS News congressional reporter Torian Small. Torian, let's get right to these articles of impeachment: the who, what, where, when, and why. Who's behind this, and what's the why?
Yeah, Representative Yasmin Ansari from Arizona. She's putting forth this after telegraphing it earlier in the week that this is the direction that she's going. In these articles of impeachment, there are about 6 articles here. It's for unauthorized war use against Iran and reckless endangerment of the United States service members, violations of the law of armed conflict and targeting civilians, negligence and reckless handling of sensitive military information, obstruction of Congress and oversight, abuse of power, politicization of the armed forces, and conduct bringing disrepute upon the United States and its armed services. I do want to point out, though, that the likelihood that this goes anywhere is pretty low, especially considering this is a member of the minority party who it's unclear if she got backing or the support from Democratic leadership before moving forward with this. On top of that, the threshold for articles or impeaching a cabinet member is pretty high, considering it would have to go through the Senate, even if all Democrats were to support this measure and a handful of Republicans needed to pass it through a simple majority of the House for it to actually stick. But I also got to point out the parallel here between what we saw in the last administration when Republicans looked to impeach DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas.
I think that's a little bit different. I think letting in 5 million people unvetted is a lot different than actually commanding the Department of War. By the way, notice they keep saying over and over that he's broke the law. There's an illegal war. Like, well, I'm pretty sure by now, if you watch this show, you know that that's not true. You know that the president can do things and has 60 days to get it done before he has to go to Congress for approval. And you also know that if there's any sort of ceasefire or cessation, which there is, the clock starts all over again. But the Democrats don't want their constituents to know the truth. And so what are you going to do? Let's try and get rid of him. They're trying to get rid of Pete Hegseth.
Well, it did just narrowly pass out of the House. He was impeached after unsuccessfully being impeached their first effort. It ultimately was dismissed by the Senate, even though the majority in the Senate were Republicans at that time.
Okay, this begs a question relative to the articles of impeachment. So right now, as you point out, minority party, it doesn't look like this could have a lot of legs going forward. But what happens if the Democrats take Congress after the midterms? Could this be a bellwether of a plan by Democrats to maybe pursue impeachment again against Mr. Hegseth and other members of the Trump administration?
No. Can we put it simply? No, it's a waste of time. They can try, but they'll never get 67 votes in the Senate. Not going to happen. There will never be the supermajority for the Democrats, even if somehow the lightning struck and they were able to get control in the Senate. Remember, you need 66, 67 votes to actually throw somebody out of office. Never going to happen. All you got to do is have 2 words in your mind. Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton was impeached. President Trump was impeached twice. Could they get rid of him? Nope. Never going to happen. Pipe dream.
Sure, it depends on where Democrats want to expend their political capital. Assuming that it's best case scenario for them after the midterms, they win both the House and Senate. Again, the threshold in the Senate for this to actually stick would be pretty high. It would require 2/3 majority there. So there's...
All right, 2/3. That would be 66 out of 100 senators would have to elect to get rid of Pete Hegseth. 66. There's no way they're going to get there. All this is just they're throwing as much crap against the wall as possible so that they can create these kind of stories. Why don't they try to create stories that help American people? Is this all Democrats want? Is the only thing on board for Democrats chaos? That's it? Disruption? F Trump? That's it? Do you have anything to offer the American people? Anything? Lower taxes? Nah, not so much. Better employment? Nah, not so much. Gas? Nope, we're going to shut down pipelines. What are you guys doing for Americans? We want to get rid of Pete Hegseth. That's it. So again, I'll go to my closing line. As you know, it's coming.
Just no pathway for that actually being substantive. And then also it could be pretty divisive when they're looking to regroup for 2028. So I think what we could see is an effort to reintroduce these articles of impeachment, but whether or not it will have broad Democratic support in the new membership there, assuming that Democrats turn the tide and win in November, would still mean that the likelihood for Hegseth to be impeached and then removed is still very low, Reed.
Okay. Okay, so you know it. I know it. CBS News knows it. Why the hell are Democrats even proposing it? This ain't gonna work. Why would you waste your time typing up or having one of your assistants type up this articles of impeachment that is basically toilet paper? Because there's nothing else they have. Which begs you to differ or to think, if this is all they have, and this is how they're acting, tell me how they're winning.
Okay, now let's move on to what has been a roller coaster of a ride in Congress relative to a couple of representatives. Of course, we know California Democrat Eric Swalwell and Texas Republican Tony Gonzalez. They resigned from Congress. So what does this mean as we look at the balance of power going into the midterms?
Yeah, Reed, 4 vacant seats right now because of this, and potentially 2 more, bringing that up to 6, considering that there are still lawmakers looking at an expulsion resolution for the 2 Florida members in Sheila McCormick, a Democrat, and Corey Mills, a Republican. Obviously, those are different reasons from what we saw for the ousters of Tony Gonzalez and Eric Swalwell this week. Mills is also accused of sexual misconduct, but also accepting weapons deals while in office. McCormick.
Like I said, I don't care if they're Republican or Democrat. If you've done shady stuff, you need to go. Expose all these people. Everybody knows. You know, Ashley was talking to me today. She's like, do you really want to go up to Washington? And I'm like, well, we got invited. Should we go? And she's like, you're going to ask them questions they don't want to answer. You're going to ask them straight up. Did you know? 'Cause she knows what I'll ask them. Did you know about Swalwell? How did you not know? What are you going to do about it? And they're going to lie. Everybody now is talking, oh, it's been an unspoken secret. Now, if it was an unspoken secret and everybody knew about Swalwell, why didn't anybody have the actual cojones to stand up in front of a microphone and go, he's diddling people? Nobody did it. Corey Mills doing shady stuff. The chick here from Tamarack spilled $6 million. Everybody, I won't say everybody, there is so much corruption and grift. People like to use the term grifter. There's your grift. It's unbelievable. And it just keeps going on and on and on, and nobody's doing anything.
Was convicted by a House Ethics Committee investigation of money laundering, as she's also undergoing a criminal investigation. So it's a different but also similar in many ways calls from lawmakers, bipartisan group of lawmakers that are looking to remove what they're seeing as this growing number of lawmakers who are just not fit to serve or continue out their terms. They're also still calling on them to resign. It's very rare that a lawmaker is expelled from Congress. The last time we saw that was George Santos. So we'll see what happens if this pressure campaign would also move them to resign from their seats. But as of now, both are maintaining that they're looking to stick it out at least through this election.
We're going to try and stick it out. So you know you're a crook. You know you've done bad stuff, but yeah, I'm not leaving. You sound like Jerome Powell. Hey, Jerome, what'd you do with the billions at the Federal? I don't know, but I'm not leaving. That's a problem in Washington. These people just get entrenched and they stay there and they steal and they're corrupt and they do everything, and then you can't get rid of them. So I think I have a hypothesis on what's going to happen. I've been wondering who put the hit on Eric Swalwell. Don't know. Who put the hit on the chick from Tamarack, Florida, about stealing $675 million? I don't know. But it seems like there's an awful lot of whacking going on. I feel like I'm watching, a rerun of Goodfellas. Because one by one, we're seeing these people get plucked off. And I mean that because he's gone. She's gone. He's not running for re-election. Tom Tillis, he's gone. They're making as much problems as they can before they go, but one by one, we're seeing people just drop out. We've never seen that before. On either side, we've never seen it. There's going to be a lot more. What's happening? My hypothesis for this is, how should I say it? Or even should I say it? We're winning. We're winning. We're going to continue to win. The Democrats know they can't win. Their cheat is becoming reduced. The governor of Virginia is trying to change how she allocates votes. They're doing everything they can to try and disrupt this election. They're freaking out. And the thing I saw today really, really makes me take a look at things. I saw today, I think it was on, what's that guy's name? Yeah, Will, I forget what Will's name is. Will that does the 4 o'clock show on Fox. And he was talking about the reduction in immigration and the reduction in how many people have been giving basically green cards, the reduction in the amount of people who are naturalized, the reduction in the number of people who have been able to claim asylum. How many people have been deported? You notice the Democrats never talk about that anymore. How many people have self-deported? And I'm thinking, there's a lot going on here that nobody's talking about. Now, if you look at past elections, especially the Biden-Trump election and the last one with Kamala and Trump, and you see that there, with all the crap that was involved in these elections, they're not big spreads. We call them landslides, but they're really, the numbers aren't huge. Now, I want you to think of the math at this point, which I think also is why there's been so many panicants. I think the math doesn't add up anymore for the Democrats. I think they know the math doesn't add up. Let's get an aggregate total. I don't know who has it, whether it's Tom Homan. I'd love to get somebody like him on the show just to give me a gross number of how many people you think voted for the Democrats who are no longer in this country. Take that number. I don't think every single person who got deported voted Democrat, but whatever that number is, it's probably a big, giant number. It's probably 7 figures across many different states. How are they going to make that up? Any takers on that? How are they going to make up the fact that millions and millions and millions of their potential voters no longer exist? Anybody talking about that? Just think about that. If 3 million people have been deported, 3 million people, and I wonder how many of those they suspect voted. If the voter rolls have been changed and they're eliminating dead people and they're eliminating people who voted in different municipalities, if all of a sudden we're looking at something where A, all these people are gone, B, all these dead people are still dead and they're no longer going to vote, C, people don't want to go and do stuff for the Democrats because they don't want to get picked up and get thrown out. How are the Democrats going to make up that ground? Anybody talking about that? Anybody think to themselves, wait a second, well, I had all these people in the stands, and now half the stands are empty. I don't know if I'm going to be able to sell any more tickets. I can't do the fraud and keep paying people. That's done. I can't ship them over the border. That's done. I can't stuff the mail ballots. Who knows what that decision is going to be? That might be the final nail in the coffin. But if all those things come together like a perfect storm, nobody's talking about the aggregate number of votes that just went gone. Anybody been thinking about that? Anybody even talking about that? Remember, when Biden won, all of a sudden he got this huge spike that they needed to have him to win. Huge 3 o'clock in the morning spike. Well, what happens if there's no more spikes? What happens if there's no more migrants? What happens if there's no more dead people? What happens if there's no more ballot stuffing? What happens if you got to do all your votes the same day? That's way too many hypotheses that I have to put together. But every time I try to, it spells, because I like to do math, it spells, oh crap. And I don't know if you ever put it together like that yourself, and now you sit back, how are they going to make up all those votes? They needed 81 million to beat them the first time, and they had to manufacture it. Then when they couldn't manufacture it, she got close, but she still got spanked. Now, here we are in 2026, and they're just shaving it down very quietly. Nobody talks about it anymore. You tell me in the chat, how the hell are they going to win? There's only one way I'm thinking. That's where the panicans come in. The panicans come in because we need them to chase as many people on the right over to the Democrat Party. We need to make people think that Trump sucks so bad, you know, it's awful. I can't trust him anymore. I got to vote Democrat. That ain't happening. As much as you may want to trash Trump online, as much as you might want to troll in here, when it comes time to pull the lever, are you really going to vote for those people? No, you'll cash the checks today. Hey, I tried. I wrote bad articles about Trump. I made bad videos about Trump. But I ain't voting for a Democrat. I'm not a communist. So tell me, you can add all that up yourself. How are they going to win? And then once you start putting those numbers together, you're going to think like I'm thinking.
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
Welcome back to Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
You know, it's really funny. Talk about different sponsors on the show. And one of the sponsors that I always talk about is Chapter. And before the show happened, SV and I were talking. As you guys know, I turned 65 a couple months ago. SV is running up on that number right now. And he asked me the same question many of you guys have emailed me. Are these guys for real? And I'm like, all it's going to cost you is a 20-minute phone call. And as someone who recently turned 65, I can confirm that keeping track of enrollment periods, understanding all your options, and making sure you're on the right plan takes a lot of time, energy, and you still don't even sometimes know what's right and what's wrong. What about the plan B, plan D? What is all this crap? And between Medicare scams, corrupt agents, and bloated insurance companies, it's easy to make mistakes that can cost you thousands. That's why I'm happy I called Chapter. And I advise you to give them a Chapter because it's free. All you got to do is a free phone call and you'll find out if they're working. They're honest, and they're the only Medicare advisor that looks at every plan nationwide, and it can help save you as much as $1,100 a year. That's $100 per month. Not bad. And they're not going to put you in any kind of a plan that you don't want. And their support is completely free. So if you're turning 65 soon or have questions about your Medicare coverage, call them at 475-328-3545 to get the most out of Medicare. And when you call them and after you're done, you're going to say, like everybody else says, I wish I'd called these guys sooner. It would have saved me some doggone time. All right, so now I got a story for you here. Actually, two stories, and and one of them was really, really nice.
What's a development in regards to the president's immigration policies? He's been going back and forth in regards to deportations. And an appeals court yesterday, it was divided, but they did rule against Judge Boasberg and said this: the district court proposes to probe high-level executive branch deliberations about matters of national security and diplomacy. These proceedings are a clear abuse of discretion. Can you explain to everybody what's going on here? What's the plain English version?
I'll give you an even better plain English version, but I won't swear because people say I swear too much. The appellate court spanked that you-know-what. I'm thinking of the Tom and Jerry commercial where whack, 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 whack. Or what's the big guy, the big rooster guy that goes around? I swear, I do declare, boy. Boy, they opened up a can of whoop butt on him, Bo Asperger.
The plain English version is that a federal appeals court just told the chief judge for the D.C. federal court system to stop harassing the Trump administration. That's really not an oversimplification. They accused this judge of abusing his discretion, of engaging in an improper, inappropriate investigation.
Now, understand what you're listening to here. One of these out of control, radical Obama-era appointed judges just got taken out back behind a woodshed. And Bo Asperger, who this is about, who's been trying to be a thorn in President Trump's side the entire time. All he's been trying to do is he just writes these orders over and over and over. And this judge just got hit with what's called a writ of mandamus. And that was from the federal appeals court. Now, you may not know what a writ of mandamus means. I had to look it up myself. And if you're not immersed in legal mumbo jumbo, a writ of mandamus is very rare to be issued by an appellate court to another judge. They basically spank the judge in public. It's extraordinary. The higher court said, Judge, you've abused your power so badly, we're pulling up your robe, we're ordering you to bend over right now and spanking you in public. Seriously, that's what they just did. They didn't just reverse what he said. They didn't say, yeah, I understand you've been trying to screw Trump. That's not what they said. They said you were wrong to even hold these contempt hearings. You abused your authority by even holding these hearings. Let me walk you through this radical judge, what he tried to pull. Back in March of last year, the Trump administration was using the AEA, the Alien Enemies Act, remember? And they started deporting members of the Venezuelan gang Tres de Nicaragua. The vicious, tattooed up criminals, they were sending them to El Salvador and every place else. They loaded them up on planes, sent them down to see Nayib Bukele in El Salvador at the Supermax prison. The planes are in the air. They've left, taken the bad guys. And Judge Bo Asperger says what? I'm going to issue a temporary restraining order, and then screams in court, turn the plane around. What? What? Bring those criminals back. They've got rights here. So the administration said, I'm sorry, Judge. They're already gone. So Bo Asperger, in a fit of rage, decides he's going to hold Trump and his different officials in criminal contempt. He wants to throw them in jail because they didn't stop the plane. Criminal contempt. Then he starts an investigation, and he starts doing his own investigation. By the way, judges aren't supposed to do investigations. Judges are supposed to adjudicate. So he starts sticking his nose in every different crevice that he can, meddling in national security, basically appointing himself as president. And yesterday, the appeals court said, stop, enough. They issued a writ of mandamus and slapped him down hard. They call it a clear abuse of discretion, an inappropriate investigation that should never have happened. This guy was trying to run the presidency from the bench. Who was motivating him to do that? That's what we need to find out.
Basically meddling in the executive branch's ability to make decisions on national security issues. And this all stems from that incident that I'm sure a lot of us remember when the Trump administration deported members of Tren de Aragua to El Salvador. A judge said, turn that plane around, or, you can't turn them over, bring them back. And then they didn't. And this judge found them in criminal contempt for not complying with his order. This federal appeals court pretty much smacked him down and said, you were wrong to hold them in contempt. They didn't even violate your order. And now we're going to issue something called a writ of mandamus, which is an extraordinary remedy that is the court ordering another court to do something because the government has no other option.
Right.
You're forcing me to hurt you. I don't have any other option. That the presidency can't do anything because you keep issuing these stupid rulings. We've known for a while, any of you who are Trump supporters, you know for a while that these judges, whoever has been behind the scene pulling their strings, has made them feel or told them you're above the Constitution. Do whatever you want. Just stop Trump. Stop Trump from securing the border. Stop him from protecting American citizens. Whatever you need to do, stop Trump. And it was working. Every single one of us was saying, just ignore him. Just ignore that. And now, finally, the higher courts are pushing back. You got to love it. But now it's not enough. Now we need to impeach him, which I know is going to take some time. And again, you're back into the 67 votes and all that crap, and the Democrats are never going to do it. But do something. Get rid of this guy. Get him off the bench. His record right now should disqualify him. The other thing I always want to know is, how does this guy keep getting cases? Is it Mark Elias, Norm Eisen? How does he keep getting the cases that they need them to adjudicate? Every single time that Norm Eisen and Mark Elias have cases that they want to bring before a court, somehow it ends up with Judge Bo Asperger. This guy doesn't belong on a bench. I think we need to start doing some investigation, looking into his bank accounts and finding out what in the heck is going on. This lawfare that Norm Eisen and Mark Elias have been doing, and they're so proud of it, fine. You want to file lawsuits? Go ahead. But now we need to find out, this deep state judge, who's he tied together with? Who is he working with to try and stop Trump? We are in April of 2026. And for the last year and now almost a year and a half, this guy has tried to stop every single thing President Trump has tried to do. But now, as I was saying in the last segment, now you have to wonder what's going to happen. Because I'm sure Tom Homan saw this and was, oh, this is great. I can't wait. Now you're going to ramp up the deportations. Now you're going to get these people the hell out of here. Now the people being deported the people who haven't been deported know you can't stop them from deporting you. And so maybe you might want to self-deport, take the couple $1,000, get the hell out of here before they get a hold of you. We may see mass deportations and we may see mass self-deportations. Because now they know the one safeguard that they had, the one lifeline was that Judge Boasberger was going to stop everything. And now he can't stop it. No more. Not with his gavel, not with his pen, not with his whining. He can't do anything. That's crazy. Now let me show you another one of these judges. You're going to recognize her. She's always been kooky. And she's on the Supreme Court, and she's having a meltdown. I'm talking, obviously, about your favorite DEI judge, Ketanji Brown Jackson. She just gave a speech at Yale Law School, probably got a big check for it, and she's beside herself. She's slamming the Supreme Court's emergency docket. That's what the critics call the shadow docket. And what it really is, it's when the high court steps in quickly because President Trump petitions to them and lets President Trump's policies move forward. You can keep suing him, but while you're suing him, we're going to let him do what he needs to do. That has been a favorite trick of the left for quite some time. Sue him and keep them from adjudicating it at the Supreme Court. Well, now they're moving forward. You can sue it. That can go on for years, but now we're going to let it happen. And so let me show you this article that she was quoted in, and she was just screaming her head off. What did she? Just screaming her head off. Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson slammed Supreme Court's emergency docket actions. Jackson faulted her fellow justices for often forcing the public and lower court judges to rely on scratch paper, something she calls scratch paper musings. See how this ties together? She knew that if Judge Boasberger made some sort of ruling, that if they appealed to the Supreme Court, they would have to wait till the calendar came back around the following year. But now what the Supreme Court's been doing, and many people don't know, they've been using this quick docket to execute for Trump. And now, all of a sudden, on the very same day, she's pissed off that they're using emergency docket actions. You find that coinky-dinky? There are no coincidences. She goes down here. She goes, last week sharply criticized the Supreme Court handling of the emergency docket, which delivered a series of victories to President Trump in the first year of his second term. Jackson, where's this ad here? Oh, shush, back there. I can't get rid of that ad. Where's that ad? Anyway, Jackson told law students that those rulings undermine the high court's credibility. And she went on to say rulings on the Supreme Court's emergency docket, often dubbed the shadow docket, are typically brief and usually do not include the sort of detailed legal reasoning and conclusions the high court issues in connection with decisions on its regular or merits docket. She faulted her fellow justices for often forcing the public and lower court judges to rely on what she calls scratch paper musings, accompanying the emergency docket actions and excoriating judges who fail to divine the opaque ruling's intended meaning. As you look and see the various stories out there, you start realizing they're losing a grip. She's freaked out because now Boasberger can't do these rulings. And Supreme Court is taking these things on an emergency basis. And they're ruling for Trump time and time again. And her one job, the reason why she's put there, the Biden appointee called on her colleagues to adopt a new approach to emergency appeals, considering first the real-world impact of blocking a lower court action, only then making an assessment of the legal merits, blah, 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 blah. Please stop moving so quick and letting Trump do what he needs to do. I was put here to block him. And now that's falling apart. So you tell me. I told you about the deportations. Now you find out that Judge Boasberger can't stop them. And now you find out Ketanji Jackson is all pissed off. There's a lot going on that people aren't talking about. There's a lot going on behind the scenes that the media isn't even telling you. They're losing their hold on lawfare. They're not able to do what they've been doing, and it's only April of 2025. And once again, I ask you, when you start putting all of this together, how are we losing? If it's only April and all of this is coming out, that they're completely losing it because of everything that's happening, tell me how we are going to lose the midterms. And it's only April. We don't even know what's coming up tomorrow, next week, 2 weeks, a month from now. But none of it spells positivity for the Democrats. And so ignore the panicants. Completely ignore them. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. They're trying to convince you otherwise. They're trying to get you off their game. This is the real stuff that's happening. And not a single word is Barry making up. This is actual stuff happening. Everything from losing his appeal to allowing the deportations, which are going to speed up, which nobody's going to cover, which is going to cause self-deportations to rise. And every one of these people who gets deported or self-deported is another potential Democrat voter who won't be there in October and November. And that doesn't include how many others between now and then get taken out. So you can't stop them in the courts anymore. You can't stop them at the Supreme Court. Sorry, Ketanji. How are we going to lose? Doesn't make any sense to me. Be right back.
Back to Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
All you have to do is look at California versus Nevada, New York versus Florida, and there's a huge exodus taking place.
Meanwhile, New York Governor Kathy Hochul acknowledging that the state's tax base has been heavily impacted by an exodus to low-tax states, urging wealthier residents to come back.
I need people who are high net worth to support the generous social programs that we want to have in our state. But
you got money, you got to give it to us. Now, I've been talking about Mandami, but it just seems like every other day, something else in New York just makes you shake your head. I want to paint a picture for you that's clearer than the sunset we see behind us in the water. For the last 10 years, states like California, Illinois, New York, and New Jersey, those glittering liberal utopias, those beacons of so-called progress, have been hemorrhaging people. They're leaving in droves, not just a few snowbirds like we normally get. They're heading south, Texas, Florida, North Carolina. We're talking hundreds of thousands of productive tax-paying Americans every single year, packing up the U-Haul, kissing their overpriced McMansions or whatever condos up in New York. Bye. We're out of here. We're done. And they're heading straight to freedom. And what she's saying, hey, can you go back down and tell your Palm Beach buddies to come back? We need you to support the generous social programs we have. I have my own social programs. It's called My Grandkids. I have a business. I have this. I have that. My social program isn't for you to give it to degenerates. And they're taking something with them that New York can't replace, no matter how hard they try, and that's tens of billions of dollars. Tens of billions of dollars in annual income, cold hard cash that they use to fund those, as she called it, generous social programs. Now all of a sudden, they can't do it. And they're trying to appropriate it. They're trying to take it from people. They're trying to make you pay an exit tax. What does that sound like? Seriously, those of you who are old enough, what does it sound like when a certain municipality government tells you you can't leave? I don't know. Are we almost to the point where they're going to put walls up in New York City and say you can't even leave? It's going to turn like the Berlin Wall? Is it going to turn into Cuba? You can't leave. Because at this point, people, I'm out. You people are nuts. I didn't sign up for your, quote, generous social programs. That sounds like a personal problem, Kathy. $20 billion came to Florida alone. Just to Florida. They're fleeing these areas.
Maybe the first step should be go down to Palm Beach and see what you can bring back home, because our tax base.
It ain't home anymore. Bring it back home. No, they gave you the double barrel salute on the way out and said, bye. They're not coming back. As much as they probably love New York. I had great times in New York. I'm from Connecticut. It doesn't look like it looks now. In addition to Florida, Texas grabbed another $5 or $6 billion. California, they lost nearly $12 billion. New York, almost $10 billion. Illinois, $6 billion. Just like with the voters, how do you make up that money? How do you make up all of these people who just decided all of a sudden, F off? We're not letting you take our money.
This has been eroded.
Now, according to the most recent IRS service data from 2022 to 2023, due to migration from blue to red states, California lost just under $12 billion and New York $9.9 billion, while Florida gained $20.5 billion and Texas $5.5 billion.
So you look at that. California, almost 12. New York, just about 10. And Illinois, another 6. How do you make that up? How do you make people give you their money? So somehow the people in New York sat around and like, okay, here's what we're going to do. Here, I'm a commie. You know I'm a commie. And I've been coming up with crazy stuff like free food and free grocery stores and $70 million to build 5 stores, which I'm not going to even build the first one until 2029. Anyway, and so just give me the money now. We'll figure it out. Now he's got another great idea that he somehow convinced Kathy Hochul to go along with.
When I ran for mayor, I said I was going to tax the rich. Well, today, we're taxing the rich.
The dude's bragging. Tick, tick, tick. Now we're going to tax the rich. What do you think the rich are going to do? You think people who made that kind of money are just going to bend over and spread the cheeks and let you have your way? That may work with the GOAT boys, but I don't think it's going to work with the billionaires, because that's why they're billionaires. First of all, they're going to sue you into oblivion. You're never going to see any money while the time is in your term. Ain't going to happen. And then the further it goes, you're going to see them take off. But the problem is, as they're leaving, there's nobody coming north. Nobody says, you know what, I understand you got this $20 million condo. I'd like to go see how this, socialism, communism stuff works. I'll buy it from you, said nobody ever. That's where the problem is at this point. You're going to get sued, and you're not going to have any income coming back.
I'm thrilled to announce we've secured a pied-à-terre tax, the first in New York's history. This is an annual fee on luxury properties worth more than $5 million, whose owners do not live full-time in the city.
So these people pretty much already live here, and they hold condos and apartments in New York City when they want to go up and see the Giants play. I don't know why. Or the Rangers, or see a concert, maybe see a Broadway play. Maybe they have an office there. My old boss still has an office in Manhattan for the time being. And they just have some place where when they fly into Westchester with the private jet, they could come in and go to their own place and, use whatever write-offs and everything else. Now you're telling all of these people, we're going to, I won't use the word because YouTube doesn't like it, but it rhymes with grape. And you're bragging about it. That's the first time in history we're going to take all your money. Oh, really? How do I sign up?
Like for this penthouse, which hedge fund CEO Ken Griffin bought for $238 million.
Full disclosure, Ken Griffin, I believe, owns a percentage of the Miami Dolphins. I'm a season ticket holder, so I indirectly pay Ken Griffin. But in any event, it's his money. You're bragging that you're stealing people's money with that fake smile, that smile, I'm a snake and I'm going to bite you as I steal your money. Now, there may be people in here saying, oh, nobody needs that. Nobody deserves that. Nobody should have that. Bottom line is it's still his. However he made his money, however he succeeded, because let's not forget, this is about penalizing success. And if he gets away with it at that level, they're going to come down and just, we need some more for this generous social programs we have. They're always going to need more. When have communists and socialists and Democrats, I guess that's all the same, when have they not needed more? Because all the people that they support, all the people that are in their tent, keep having 12 and 14 kids. Especially the ones who follow the Mandami crowd, if you know what I mean. So they're always going to need more. It's never going to be, okay, we got this covered for the next 20 years.
Hereditary tax is specifically designed for the richest of the rich, those who store their wealth in New York City real estate, but who don't actually live here. But even so,
I never knew I was, not me, but I never knew buying a property was storing my wealth. They don't even want it to make it seem like it's an investment that somebody did. I'm going to buy this apartment building. And you know who's number one person is going to have a problem with this? Trump. Make no doubt about it. This is also another attack on President Trump. Those condos in Trump Tower, big money. And right now, President Trump lives in Mar-a-Lago. But he's got I don't know what it's even worth, $20 million, $30 million condo in Trump Tower, maybe even more. He just stores it, stuff there. He doesn't really live there, doesn't make any money there or anything. He just stores, it's like a warehouse. It's not some place where Melania hangs out.
they're able to reap the huge financial rewards of owning property in, dare I say, the greatest city in the world. And most of the time, these units are sitting empty, since again, they don't actually live here.
Say again, it's their frickin' choice. You think because nobody's there, because right now we know Melania is in Washington. We saw her make a speech today. President Trump is in Washington. So there's probably nobody in Trump Tower, well, in his unit in Trump Tower. And so that means it's easy picking because, they're not even here. They're not even using it tonight. Somebody else could be staying there. We should be taxing the hell out of them. That's what he's saying. They can't afford the crap that they want to do. The generous social programs cannot exist. The Democrats, the commies, the socialists, they cannot do anything without taking your money. They're feckless. So they sit around in rooms trying to figure out, how can I take more of your money? And right now I'm telling you, you're not Ken Griffin, you're not Donald Trump, but rest assured, they want your money too, especially you just got a tax return. Oh, we got to get some of that.
This is a fundamentally unfair system that hurts working New Yorkers. Now,
whoa, got like a pit bull out there. How is it a fundamentally unfair situation? My dogs are going crazy. I apologize. How is it fundamentally unfair? I don't have any idea. They bought it, they built it, they earned it, they decided to invest in these properties, but it's unfair because you can't afford it. And so the message that he's putting it out there so that the little people that he calls little people, the poor peoples, his friends that, like goats, these people down there, tax the rich, eat the rich, do everything to the rich, until they define rich as what you have. You see, rich will always be what they don't have. Wow, you got 2 cars. You don't need that. Wow, you got 4 bedrooms. You don't need that. Wait a minute, I thought you were just talking about the Trumps and the Griffins of the world. I thought you were talking about people who make 5, 50, 20, 75 million. Yeah, that was them, but now we need more. It will never stop. And that's what you have to understand.
It's coming to an end. This tax will raise at least $500 million directly for the city. It'll help fund things like free childcare.
He said that in the same sentence. This will fund, F-U-N-D, things like free childcare. Well, how is it free? How is it free if it's funding free childcare? You see, the childcare should just be free. Everybody can have it. Doesn't need funding if it's free. No, you're taking it from me to pay childcare for Shaniqua. She gets the free childcare. Somebody else is paying for it. By the way, how are the people who are watching the kids getting paid? Who are those? Who gets those contracts?
Streets and safer neighborhoods. As mayor, I believe everyone has a role to play in contributing to our city, and some a little bit more than others. Happy Tax Day, New York.
With a smile. With a smile. No kiss. You just get this effing with a smile, and you're just going to have to take a little bit more of a hit. Oh, yeah, the big old cheekies, yeah, just a little bit more. Just got to give some, it's going to hurt a little bit. We need to call Snake Plissken because OMG, what the heck is going on in New York? Hey, SB, you still around down there? You still there?
Absolutely. Hey, I didn't ask for that.
What about food access? How about food access? You have access to some food right now?
I want some free access. New York is forked.
And it keeps happening. It seems like every day something else. And then today, hey, we need $500 million. For what? For our generous social programs. Well,
all from the billionaires and trillionaires.
Oh my God. That's what they got. Was that what you were talking about in terms of you said you had something about Mondami?
Yeah, that was the thing from earlier. I didn't let it out of the bag. Did you see the thing I sent you about Pete Hegseth in the morning? It looks like you may be up early.
I am not doing an 8 o'clock show after a nighttime show. But I will tape it and have it so that we can do that for sure. So I'll have it. But this whole thing with these people, they're absolutely nuts. Now, you got anything else before I go here?
Actually, I do. It's a short thing. So, the guy that replaced Marjorie Taylor Greene, Clay Fuller, he is kicking some butt. Apparently, as his first acts as new congressman, he has 1, signed on to the Save America Act, 2, signed on to a moratorium on Somali immigration, 3, joined the anti-Sharia caucus, 4, supported a constitutional carry bill, 5, co-sponsored a bill blocking foreign actor land purchases.
Wow.
This guy is amazing. He just hit the ground and went. Pew.
Makes you wonder what Marjorie Taylor Greene has up her sleeve. I mean, is she going to looking for a job on The View or something? She'll never be able to run for office. So, I mean, what's her whole game, I wonder,
She's great.
I don't know where she's going.
Being a traitor. I mean, Did I say that? I'm sorry.
Somebody's paying her, and that's for sure. Let's see.
That's all I have for now.
All right. Well, I'm gonna close with this quick video from Stephen Miller that he was on Jesse Waters' show last night. Very interesting.
Stephen Miller, Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy and Homeland Security Advisor. Miller, they said the president had no plan to secure the strait, and looks like it's going pretty well. Never listen to a panicking, Jesse.
Can I repeat that? Never listen to a panicking. Turn them off. Stop following them. And I know some of you guys are being influenced by them because I see stuff in the chat. I'm like, where do you hear this? Somebody earlier had said something about China doing something with the Iranians. And I had just played the video where President Trump said that ain't happening. And then literally a couple minutes later at the press conference, Caroline Levitt said that ain't happening. But sure enough, somebody was in the chat talking about, well, China's going to help Iran. Stop listening to panicans.
You will do very well in life. Ignore the panicans, right? They were the ones who warned of calamity in Venezuela and ended up being one of the greatest single foreign policy, military, geopolitical maneuvers in world history. What you're watching now in Iran with the implementation of this blockade is the total resetting of the American power dynamic for the next 100 years. President Trump is saying, we, the United States, have the world's not just most powerful military, most powerful Navy. And whoever controls the seas is able to control the outcomes in any foreign policy showdown. And so President Trump has put Iran in a box. He's played the checkmate move. And so now, no matter what path Iran chooses, America wins. If Iran chooses the path of a deal, then that's great for the world, that's great for everybody. If Iran chooses the path of economic strangulation by blockade, then the world will pass Iran by. New energy routes will be established, new supply chains will be established, other nations throughout the region, throughout the world, and especially America will power the world, and Iran will become a footnote. So that's the choice Iran has, and President Trump has put America into a win-win posture. You know?
That is so true. And again, that's what the Democrats hate. I just want you to imagine in your mind, excuse me, sometime possibly in September, and you pull up to the pump and gas is $1.49. You going to vote to go against that in the midterms? I want you to imagine a time, I don't know, sometime in September, when all these people have been deported, where groceries are cheaper because they're not inflated because so many people are getting free stuff. You going to vote against that? And that's including right now, you just got a decent, depending on where you live, a decent refund. Your wages will mean more. The money in your bank will mean more because other stuff is coming down. I carry a picture on my phone. And it was, what was the gas prices the day that Trump left office after he got screwed by the Bidens? And I looked at that and said, okay, yesterday, I'm like, why can't we be back to $1.49? What is stopping us from being back to $1.49? Well, I think this is one big hump. And the other big hump that a lot of people aren't realizing is the real damage that the Biden administration did. Wasn't so much depleting the oil reserves, wasn't so much doing all the different things with Venezuela, shutting certain things down. It was the refineries because people have been wondering, if we have all this oil here, why is the gas price so high, even though oil is priced globally? Well, it's because America doesn't have enough ready refineries to handle all the demand. They shut them down. They knew what they were doing. A lot of people don't know. They cranked off all the refineries. They didn't want America being self-sufficient. California shut down drilling off the coast of California. They didn't want you to be able to do what you're doing right now. And so while people are complaining about gas right now, and while the media and the Democrats are trying to push that thought, that one thought that they're counting on will go away as soon as you go to the pump and it's $1.60, $1.70, $1.50. It won't be, whoa, really? See, the problem the Democrats are having is they're spending all their capital right now. And they should see, as Stephen Miller is saying, when you're saying Trump doesn't have a plan, it means you don't have a plan to stop him. You don't understand, or maybe you do, where he's headed with everything. His plan is in place. That's why I don't care about polls. Polls try to take a snapshot today. And with what we've got to do, with the scabs that we have to rip off, you have to ignore polls today. You have to ignore anything happening today to understand where it's going to be 4 or 5 months from now.
They accuse the president of having no strategy. He's just kind of flying by the seat of his pants. You look at Venezuela, you look at drill, baby, drill. You look what's happening with Iran and the Strait, and now China, Indonesia, the deals we've cut with the Japanese and the South Koreans. It does look like there's a strategy to counter the Chinese and make America energy dominant. Why don't they accept that? If I can see it, well, they should be able to see it too. Because it's a total discrediting, Jesse, of the corrupt politicians and corrupt systems that brought America to its knees. Our wealth, our treasure, our power has been bled from us for 50 years.
Bingo. You know, and you can tell, you guys can, you're here amongst friends. You know we're MAGA, and you understand, as much as I've talked about prosperity, probably more than any other podcaster talking to you about get some. Understand where the puck is going. Look at the trend lines. There are still people in our chat who get uncomfortable talking about prosperity. For the only reason being, they've been conditioned that it's not right. You shouldn't have this. You shouldn't want this. And then some people will throw biblical statutes at you without leaving stuff out. They think that enjoying wealth is bad. I just try to encourage people to put that sweater on and get comfortable in it. Make it the nicest, most comfortable sweater, the nicest pair of shoes that you just love to slip on when you come home. And then you'll wear them out sometimes. You go out to take the garbage out or something, and people see you in this ugly sweater or your underwear, and you're just happy. You're as happy as Randy Quaid was in Christmas Vacation. You're sitting there in your underwear, and you're loving life because you know where you are. You're comfortable with it. Be that kind. Well, maybe don't be that kind of comfortable. Don't go out in your underwear and pump poop outside the RV. But there are people in this chat who still feel a little bit resistant when we talk about prosperity. We need everybody to grasp prosperity. And even if you don't feel comfortable or you don't want it, you should wish it and pray it for other people. And that's what Steve is talking about. It's for 50 years. Certain people in this country have tried to make you feel that prosperity is a bad thing. You don't deserve it. That's the worst thing you could tell somebody is they don't deserve something. I could be weird. I was brought up different. I was brought up, do whatever you can, do whatever you need, do it the right way, but you can do whatever you want. You can play ball. You can do this. You can do your own business. I encourage you to. How can I help you? And I realized, talking to Robin sometimes, that a lot of people didn't have that upbringing. A lot of people say, yeah, no, that's not for you, son. That's not for you, daughter. And I'm like, my family didn't do that. And I see it sometimes in my own family because I realize now, older, my sisters didn't get that kind of treatment. Yeah, you're the BMOC. You're in the newspaper and people are talking to you about you because you play football and you get this and you get that and schools want this. And yeah, it's kind of, addicting. But no one told me I couldn't do it. Nobody said no. And I mean that. Nobody said no. And so I had to keep learning. I mean, through successes and failures, I realized I like the successes a lot more. The failures suck. The failures hurt. This stuff is good. I want more of this. And that's what Stephen's talking about.
We won World War II. And then we decided that we were going to get rid of the Department of War, we were going to get the Department of Defense, and we were going to have a politically correct foreign policy. And we sent away our jobs, we sent away our wealth, we sent away our industry, and we gave other countries a chance to compete against us. President Trump has used trade policy, energy policy, manufacturing policy, and yes, hard military power to ensure another century of American dominance. And
all right. See, now there's another one of those uncomfortable words for people. Why does America have to be dominant? Because that's what we're supposed to do. We're America. Dominance is not a bad thing. Not militarily, not financially, not athletically. That's why your president loves UFC. That's why he loves the Olympics. That's why he loves bringing the World Cup here. He wants dominance. How many of you have shied away from dominance? How many of you grew up around people who wanted to see you dominate? See, if you can't answer that question, then you're understanding right now what's wrong in America. Oh, we got to make sure that the Europeans are, no, F them. We're going to be dominant. We got to make sure that, this person over here, no. If you can't keep up, you fall behind. How do you expect to not fall behind if you don't get falling behind the first time? I wasn't the best when I stepped onto a field. I got my face knocked in the dirt and okay. I need to pump some iron, need to do some stuff. I was dominated, which made me want to dominate. That first time when somebody, in high school was one thing, got to college, and you get there and there's other big guys there and they're looking like put your face in the dirt. And once you get your face put in the dirt, like, okay, I get it. I got to get better. I'm not as good as that guy. But I'm going to make sure by the time, next year comes around, I'm ready for him. And if you haven't been in that kind of situation, whether emotionally, financially, vocationally, encouraged to be dominant, especially as a guy, everything you're seeing right now with the Democrats was to take that ideology away from men. Go ahead and be fluffy. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Yeah, go ahead and play with that. Yeah, don't worry about it. It's okay. This is what we do now. Oh, by the way, we're now more progressive, and it's okay if you chop off your junk. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, we got all kinds of flags for you. It's perfect. We'll even give you the money. We'll give you the money to go to the doctor, tell the doctor you're going to get paid, and then you're going to chop everything off. Everything is going to be fine. It's not fun. It was never fine. It's not being more progressive. It's sick. It's not how we grew up. It's not how you grew up. It's not how I grew up. There is so much wrong with what the Democrats have tried to do with males. It's so funny when I see De Niro and he's out there going F Trump and everything. I'm like, dude, you made your millions simply because you made testosterone movies. You were a gangster. You were dominating people. You were shooting them in the head. You were like the big guy out there. Your entire career was, and then one movie you made and you put on a fairy suit, and I went, oh my goodness, they got him. I don't know if y'all saw that. I don't know if you saw the movie where Robert De Niro, the Godfather, the assassin, the guy who just would do everything, and then one day he shows up in a movie and he's got a fairy outfit on, and I knew something was wrong. I knew it was wrong right there. That's when I knew something's really wrong here. We're about to go into a different area when I see Robert De Niro in a tutu. If you haven't seen that movie, I don't suggest you watch it. You can look it up, but you'll see Robert De Niro is in a tutu. How in the hell you didn't break your brand with that? You broke your brand. I could never look at you the same again. Don't even bother doing another mob movie. I saw you in a tutu. Same thing with Bruce. Bruce, Born to Run, Thunder Road, The River. Now you're F Trump? How'd they get to you, man? You were all for the little guy becoming big. Every one of your albums and songs, Live from Asbury Park, I had them all. It was inspiring. And now You sold out. I remember, some of you guys might remember, a band called Rage Against the Machine, who turned into Rage with the Machine. F you, I'm not going to take it anymore. And now you're taking it every way you can. And the guitar player decided he was going to get with Springsteen. They had a great song, The Ghost of Tom Yode, and now he hates everything that got him to where he is. These people all flipped on us. Domination and winning is a good thing. Absolutely a good thing.
What's important for your viewers to understand is our quality of life that we have in America is purchased by American strength. The reason why our GDP per capita blows every other nation out of the water is because of American strength. That's why we're able to enjoy the life that we enjoy, but it was threatened as never before until President Trump said, we are going to be a proud, powerful, mighty nation again. And that's
why is that bad? Anybody want to tell me why it's bad that we'd be a proud, powerful nation? Flex the muscle out there and let everybody know, don't mess with us. Don't start nothing, won't be nothing. And then by changing the term from Department of Defense, we're only going to do something if you hurt us, to the Department of War. We're out here to take over the Western Hemisphere because we can. We're going to dominate. So everything the Democrats are seeing and some weak men are seeing, and obviously some weak white women are seeing, is because they probably grew up in matriarchal households and they weren't prepared for the man to take center stage again. How many matriarchal households did you know? I grew up in one after my parents got divorced, but she didn't try to put me in a fairy suit. My mom kept saying, hey, do what you got to do. I understand. Yeah, you're a big guy. But now we're going back to a patriarchal situation, and that really bothers a lot of people, even a lot of women. They got used to not having to, be dominated.
what you're seeing right now play out in the Middle East, Jesse.
All right. Now, while we have you here, has the president said anything about Swalwell? I don't know if he said anything. Has he been following that?
Why, has he had a bad week, Jesse? I haven't been watching.
You might be busy with bigger matters of war and peace.
Couldn't have happened to a better person. But look, here's the most important thing, if we have 10 seconds on this, and I'm sure you would agree with this. The most important part about this story, and look, Swalwell is a scumbag. He is a terrible person, the worst of the worst, the lowest of the low, the most dishonest of the most dishonest. But the real story here is how the Democrat Party controls its members through blackmail. It's got a blackmail file on all of its politicians, and it uses them to leverage and control them until it's time to release it. That is how sick and twisted the Democrat Party is. That's the next thread we've got to pull out here, Jesse.
He's right. They all knew what Swalwell was doing, but it got to a point where, sorry, another Godfather reference, for old time's sake, can't do it. Got to take a ride. You're done. See, when you make a deal with the devil, sometimes the devil comes back and collects. Oftentimes he's going to come back and collect. And these people, they know what they've done behind closed doors. They know what they've done to who and everything else. And then it ends up being multiple people. And all of it gets swept up under the rug as long as you are controllable. Now, I'm pretty sure what probably happened, somebody went to Swalwell and they said, we don't want you as governor. We're going to have to step aside. You can keep Congress, but we don't want you as governor. You're going to have to bow out. How do you know this happened? Well, you saw it happen. You saw them tell Joe Biden, hey, Joe, you're not looking right. You're going to have to step aside and let Kamala take over. You think it was the first time they went to somebody and said, yeah, time to go? So I'm pretty sure that's what happened with Swalwell. You can see the turn of events, how fast it happened. One day he's, number 3 in the race, and he's in Congress. The next day, they're taking a sign off of his office, and he's somewhere in California probably looking at a pier, wondering if he should step off. At some point, somebody went to him, I got something I need you to do. What do you need me to do? I need you to step away from the gun. No, I'm not doing that. Excuse me. Oh, really? No, I'm not doing that. Okay. I'll let you think about it over the weekend. I'll let you think about it long and hard. You know what you've done. We know what you've done. You can't make me do that. All right. Thank you. Tried. Bam. Dropped it on him. You're going to resign from Congress? No, I'm going to fight it. Bam. Let's drop another one on you. Ouch. You're going to resign from Congress too? No. Bam. How about 5? Now you got to go. These people play for keeps. The devil plays for keeps. You know that. Those of you who are Christian, you know the devil plays for keeps. Crazy stuff going on. And I'm sure they took him for a ride and he didn't know where it was coming. But the funny thing is, I don't think it's over. I don't think it's over whatsoever. I think there's going to be even more people caught up into this stuff, and I think more people are gonna have to go away. Right before the midterms, we're going to see a whole lot of different people basically have to kiss the ring, per se. I don't know whose ring they're kissing, but they're doing some stuff. Ruben Gallego, you might be next to be exposed. You might be the next person that they decide is no longer needed. But it's coming. And I'm not sure who's pulling the strings on it, but this is going to get probably pretty ugly very quickly because it has to. They're losing. All right, let me do some super chats. By the way, a super chat came in on Rumble, and SV sent it to me. Let me read this first. It was from RStar77. Thank you, a $50 super chat. It says, keep doing what you're doing. I truly appreciate it. We will overcome this attempted overthrow. Stay strong. Always. Thank you very much. I will definitely stay strong. We can't let them win, and we can't let them win our minds, because that's what they're hoping for. Tim McCurry, it's taken 30 years of grinding it out, but I made building maintenance electrical department superintendent with the city past Monday. Uh-oh, hold on. Fantastic. Linnell, I work at the post office. I can tell people have been getting big returns because it's like Christmas season volume. Yeah, the malls too. Tim McCurry again. At 80 hours a month. Oh no, I just pulled an 18-hour day on Saturday. Those days only come around twice a year though. Yeah, 80 hours a month. That's way too much. Chiosop, hi Congressman. I demand you allow Shaniqua to stay home all day, eating bonbons and dumping out kids so I can keep paying, said no one ever. Stephen James, my mom was 80, living on Social Security and nothing else. DSS told her she had too much income to get government help. And yet they're doling it out to these people. Chiosop, my wife does all 4 of her checkups for under $2,000 a year, including tests and blood work. I went to the emergency room for $1,800 with insurance copay would be higher. Yeah, I could not believe it. Hey, Tim, politicians should educate, promote, pave a path to self-reliance and self-respect to get off SNAP. Get on a path or get your lazy butt off SNAP. I don't know why that's so hard. It's not meant to be a lifelong program. Chiosop, if we can't get money back from Somali bums, they're yeah, we should. Pekovsky, I'm glad I see you here. Hope you're still here. Do me a favor and email me, or not email, you can get it from the mods. Email your exact mailing address because I'm looking for your name in the database to send you a hat, and I don't see Pekovsky, so I need your name. Keep Pete Hegseth. Tinley, speaking of vote, what happens to Maduro and Smartmatic? That's still sitting there. We don't know anything about what's going on. We don't know it yet. Maybe that's what the Shield of America is doing. Buddy, I can't believe I spent all those years in the Marines to see all this treason in this country. But there's a lot of people like you. Tania, stock market is doing up. People should have trusted Trump. That's the problem. They didn't know. Beverly Litton, I so wish the tariffs could go before the Supreme Court again. Better still, find a loophole. Also praying the liberal media collusion against Trump is exposed. Me too. Neo, thank you, Barry. Simple Dems win. Dems won't win. Like the man says, we will keep winning and win more. Love it. God bless our president. America coming back. Thank you. Anthony, Hochul might have to put Madami over her knee and spank her for this overtaxing. She was the one that agreed to it. Imagine that. Beverly, radical Islamist Kami Mendoza will fill those empty buildings with radicals. Makes me sick that America is being overrun. Exactly. Excuse me. Buddy Sanders, IRGC in New York City. Yeah, somebody's got to be doing it. Stephanie, my cousin got an Uber and was charged for a black car fund, among other fees. Have you ever heard of that? Black Ubers, black SUVs, or maybe she hit the wrong button, but there is something called a black Uber XL or something. Maybe look at that. If not, I would challenge it. Anthony Leonakis, 200,000 on the plus side of my 403B retirement since election. Yeah. And Landstead, the world is better when America is strong. Agreed. Beverly Litton, God wanted his creations to thrive. Then they listened to the serpent when he cast out about the creator, and Adam and Eve believed the liar. Very well said. And the last one is from Starfleet. I found them on Dammy Foundation. Those must be, okay, those his mother and father, is a private organization located in Naples, Florida. Yep, somebody's got to look into that for sure. All right, so I'll see you guys tomorrow. I won't be doing an 8 o'clock show with the whole Mondami thing. I can't be doing 8 a.m. after getting off here at 10. But what I can do, I should probably see what else is on Trump's schedule tomorrow night. Give me a second here. Let me look up the presidential schedule to see if they've posted Thursday yet. Ooh, they posted the whole weekend. All right. You know what? Before I go, let me show this to you so you guys can see how I get his entire schedule. Let's see, what button, what window am I going to put this in? I'm going to put it in here, and hopefully it shows up and I can show you guys, because they put his entire schedule for the next couple days here. So let's take a look at this. Let me move this over to there. All right, so tomorrow is Thursday. Today's Wednesday. Tomorrow is Thursday. They didn't put Thursday in. They went from Wednesday. They put Wednesday in and they skipped Thursday and just went to Friday. So I'm not sure what tomorrow is right now, but did SB see something? I don't. That's Friday, so I don't. Remarks to TP USA on Friday. So we'll have to wait till we get his schedule tomorrow. They have not as of yet posted, and we have one more. Wait a minute. Yeah, two more super chats, 2 late super chats here that I want to show you guys. Here we go. You guys saw this one already. This was from Starfleet, and then there's one here from C. Mills. Can you believe there's a lawsuit against Snap for complaints about banning junk food? I believe it. I definitely believe it. And then Beverly, again, thank you. Fox Nation is running a series called The Radicalized about the young assassins of Charlie Kirk, the healthcare executive and a kid who fired at President Trump. Yeah, might make a good evening show. I'll have to look in, make sure I can do it safely, and then I will do it. So I'm going to do a different kind of after party tonight. I'm going to let you watch this for the next few minutes. This is the President Trump lo-fi thing. Here, check it out. Talk to you guys tomorrow.